Hi all. Um, yeah, so we just thought I'd just have a quick chat after over the last 3 days, basically that I haven't. Was the first time I've done content in 3 days. Tuesday was a 5.5 easy run, and since I've covered that before, I didn't think there'd be much value in covering it again, so I avoided Tuesday. Wednesday was supposed to be or was an 18k long run, so I thought, well, I'll do the run and then I'll make a clip on that. Wednesday morning, as you may have guessed or may know, I work offshore on a rig, so I went down to my cabin. I was about an hour and a half late getting to the cabin. It was a long day at work, but I'm about 10 steps away from my cabin to the gym, so got down there feeling a bit tired, but I just want to get it cracked on and just get it done, sort of thing. So I went in. I already had 2 bottles already prepped, and then at the last minute, when I was in the cabin, I've got 2 pairs of shoes with me, which is unusual for normal. So I decided to wear the faster pair of shoes, just for why I don't know, but anyway I did. So I put them on with the kit, got my headphones on, and then noticed that the podcast I was intended to listen to wasn't playing, so did a few checks, and then because we have Wi-Fi issues sometimes, the podcast hadn't downloaded during the night, and there was no Wi-Fi at that particular time, so I couldn't even live stream it. So no particular big deal. I fancied listening to a podcast, but I ended up just opting for the usual music that was downloaded on the phone. So I started the music up and made my way into the gym, set myself up on the treadmill, and then hit the start, and away I went at the conversational pace to start the run. About a couple of kilometres into the run, I happened to just glance down at my feet and noticed that the Garmin Run Pod that's normally on a shoe was on the other shoes. I didn't change the pod. So I was a bit hacked off with myself, because I really like the data. I hang on a lot of data, sort of thing. So to know that everything was just coming from my wrist didn't impress me, but never mind. We just keep pushing on. I just want to get the run done. So carry on running. At about 6k, I then noticed that the limiter on the treadmill, there's a time limit that can be set on the treadmills, and that had been set at 80 minutes, which wasn't long enough for the session, meaning that it was going to go and stop and have to be restarted at 80 minutes, which is not the end of the world, but it felt like it to me at the time, because I just didn't want to go stop and then start again. I just wanted to run through, finish the 18k, and then go to bed, get a shower, go to bed. I was getting tired, so at that point I thought, well, maybe all these little things is just telling me something. So the next day was supposed to be a day off, first one I've had for about 8 days, and I thought, I'll call it a day now. I'll get a shower, I'll have an early night, hopefully get a good sleep that night, and then I won't have a day off. So that's what I did, and I think it paid dividends, really, sort of thing. I went in, got a shower, went straight to bed, slept all the way through to the alarm clock, which is unusual, and then had another shift at work, finished at a reasonable time this morning, went straight down. The water all my drinks was sorted, the pod was on the shoes, the podcasts I'd made sure were downloaded, everything was working, the batteries were recharged in my headphones, etc. And so I went in, set up on the treadmill, and then started the run, and it went really well. So I was really, really happy with, not just because I'd done it, but because of the way I felt as I did it. So for those, if you haven't seen what it was 4.5k at 5:15 kilometre pace, 2.5 kilometres at 4:45, 2.5 kilometres at 4:35, and then back to 4.5 kilometres at 5, again 2.5 at 4:45, and then the last 1.5 at 4:35, and I felt really fresh when I finished. Still, feet were good. I was sweating buckets, but it was good, and I'd kept myself well hydrated with the fluids, so all good. so it all worked out well in the end, apart from the fact that I don't have a day off. So no big deal. So tomorrow I've got on-off kilometers as a interval type session tomorrow. So it's a 3k at 5:15 kilometer pace, and then 3 sets of 1 kilometer 4:45, 1 kilometer 4:10. So repeat that 3 times, and then a 90-second walk off, 2k's to finish off at 5:15 pace, and that's the next session. So I'll put that in the description anyway. But it just goes to show, for me anyway, that obviously runs, whether they're in a controlled environment like the gym or out in the real world sort of thing, they don't always go to plan. Had it been a race, I don't really have the choice of thinking, oh well, we'll stop and do it again tomorrow. That's a different thing. But in the training environment that it was, that was my choice. It may have been a niggly muscle or wherever. Even in a race situation, it's your choices then that you make during your run as to whether you just back off a little bit to nurse your muscle and finish, or if you've started off too hard, or if you're just not having a good day, you can back off your pace to try and just to get through to the finish sort of thing. So it's just knowing your options, or being aware of your options as you run and what you can do. So but yeah, it was a good 18k in the end. Yeah, really happy with that today. A good marker for me again. And then so we're back into the intervals tomorrow, and I'll continue with the progress. Sunday again, I'll put down next week's runs for anybody who's interested in either just looking at it or you want to have a crack at it. Like I say, these are all based on my 5k pace at 4 minutes per kilometre. So if you fancy doing anything, just use that as a base pace compared to your own pace, whether you're faster or slower. Adjust it up or down to suit and see how you go. But so far it's going well for me. My paces are getting better. The heart rate is a thing that maybe would be worth a conversation. It's certainly quite eye-opening for me in the last, I'd say the last month, a run like today has dropped down from 160 down to 140 heart rate, which I'm really impressed with. I can feel a difference as I run, and so it's just another tick for me, another boost towards tomorrow's run, and continuing, because I feel like I'm making pretty good progress at the moment. But so that's it for now. As I say, there's the one-off Ks, and then I've got another interval session Sunday. So, but again, I'll put that up on here in the description, probably on Saturday, to say what the next week will be, and we'll take it from there. But thanks a lot. Bye.